As we walk to the final hole this day, you're listening to the vivid sounds of local sports, something you can't pick up on Dayton Sports Radio. And that's a hole-in-one finish to close out this golf broadcast impersonation. Okay, so I don't have golf broadcasting in my immediate future. What I do have for you is local Cincinnati and Dayton, Ohio sports. And we're talking golf and baseball up next on the local Cincinnati Sports Podcast. Welcome to the Cincinnati and Dayton Sports Podcast with Lee W. Mowen. The podcast talking local Cincinnati and Dayton, Ohio area sports. Listen on your favorite podcast platforms by visiting cindaypod.com. That's CINDAYPOD.com. Intro theme is Overdrive by Matrika from Uppbeat.io. Here's your host, Lee W. Mowen. That's right, we're talking about the Greenes today. The Golf Greenes, Hunter Greene, Dayton Dragons, Greene County, Cavs in 5. Sorry, that's an old joke. But we are going to start with Wright State Golf. As this program, we talk about it once a year on this podcast because Wright State Golf is definitely on the up and up, and they have won, I believe, the last 2 Horizon League golf titles. So this program is definitely strong. I do have a question for the Horizon League, though. Why is the tournament being held in Howey in the Hills, Florida? Your southmost team is Northern Kentucky in Highland Heights, which is a few minutes away from downtown Cincinnati. Why are we in Florida? I don't understand. I mean, there surely has to be golf courses around the Midwest, and I know we're dealing with, really crappy weather. I mean, we just had our first beautiful weekend of the season, right? And it's not snowing, it's not raining and anything, so. But anyway, I digress. So, as of this recording, the Raiders have already completed round 1 of the Horizon League tournament, again in Howey in the Hills, Florida, with 3 hyphens. Actually, yeah, 3 hyphens. I had to double check that. So right now, the Horizon League Championship, Wright State leading, opening round of 282 team score at the El Campeon course at the Mission Inn Resort and Club. Right now sitting at 6 under, and the team leaderboard 8 shots clear of second place Oakland at 2 over, with Youngstown State another shot back at 3rd place. All 5 Raiders are inside the top 20. Tyler Goki in 2nd place, and in tie for 3rd after 18 holes, Michael Matheson. Second round action will get underway. Actually, it is underway at this time of recording, Monday morning at around 9:30. They started about 2 hours earlier with 18 holes. Raiders will begin teeing off 8:20 through 9 a.m., all playing the back 9 and starting on the 10th hole. And the final round will tee off Tuesday morning. So maybe by the time you listen to this, we already know who won the Horizon League tournament in golf. But right now, as you heard, Wright State Golf, absolutely strong. I mean, you have 2 in the top 3. And you got Wright State leading off. Let's actually look at the live scoring right now. Yeah, -7 to par for Wright State and -1 today. Total of 282. Youngstown State has now jumped over Oakland, 290, 289. Cleveland State and Northern Kentucky with IUPUI tied for 4th, although the Norths have simply shot up. All 3 of those teams plus 12. Purdue, Fort Wayne in 7th place, plus 15. Green Bay plus 18. Robert Morris plus 32. And Detroit Mercy plus 38. I will be quite honest with you. Golf is probably the sport I know the least about, but I do know this. The higher the plus number is, that's bad. The lower the number is, or the higher the negative number is, that's good. So I do know a little something about it. It's a par 72 course for 6,765 yards. Does look beautiful. Well, I don't know if that's the picture or not, but the picture on the article from WSURaiders.com does look like a nice place to play golf. Again, I do question about the fact that, this is in Florida, and your closest team to Florida is around the Cincinnati area. So Wright State on the year, definitely a strong campaign. I think the lowest finish is, what was that one? 5th, 6th, and a lot of them been top 3 finishes. We'll start going through at the Joe Figans Marshall Invitational. Wright State finished 2nd out of 15 teams. At the Earl Yestingmeyer Invitational at Ball State in Muncie, Indiana, Wright State won it. The Valpo Fall Invitational. Golf starts in the fall, takes a winter break, and then comes back in the spring. Although your spring is where you generally have your league tournaments and such. So we're starting off in the fall. Probably should have looked at the dates before that, but details. Actually, to kick off the fall, or actually kick off the season and end the fall, Wright State won the last 4 tournaments they played in, which include the Ball State Earl Yestingmeyer Invitational, the Valparaiso Valpo Fall Invitational, the Georgia State Invitational down in Atlanta, Georgia, and the local one around here at the NCR Country Club, which I believe is just south of Kettering Hospital in Kettering, the Dayton Fly Invitational. The spring part of the schedule started in Savannah, Georgia at the Savannah Intercollegiate Tournament against William and Mary. I believe they were the hosts. And Wright State finished 3rd that Saturday and then finished 5th that Sunday. The Orlando Invitational at Howey in the Hills, Florida. That's the same place where the tournament's being held. Wright State went first. And then the Sea Palms Invitational, which I believe was held by Western Carolina at St. Simon's Island, Georgia. Wright State finished 2nd on day 1, won it the next day. In Wilmington, North Carolina, the Country Club of Landfall, that's the name. That's probably one of the lowest finishes Wright State had. 6 out of 14 teams at the Seahawk Intercollegiate Tournament, which let's scoop up and see if there's, nope, just results. Let's look and see. We can see who played in that. UNC Wilmington won their own tournament. VCU, Kansas, Francis Marion. That's a school I've never heard of. James Madison. There's Wright State. Richmond, Nebraska, Appalachian State, Radford, Delaware, Davidson, USC, Upstate, and Long Island U. That were the teams that were playing in that. Actually, I want to see who's all in the Dayton Flyer Invitational. Because that tournament's been going on for quite some time. Wright State, Youngstown State, Ball State, Ohio U, Loyola Chicago, Cleveland State, Marshall, Purdue Fort Wayne, Dayton, and Bradley. It's a fairly solid mix. Wright State, the only team in the Flyer Invitational to finish under at -4. Your second closest team was Ball State's +19, tied for Youngstown State's +18. Then Ohio, Loyola Chicago, Cleveland State, Marshall, Purdue Fort Wayne, Dayton with a +52, and Bradley at +78. Okay, back to the schedule for the Raiders. Winning the Big Blue Intercollegiate Tournament in Nashville, Tennessee, the Wright State Invitational. Well, that just happened this past weekend, and Wright State won it by finishing first out of 13 teams in Springboro. The location says Dayton, but trust me, it's in Springboro. And you can see the golf course when you drive down south or north on State Route 741. It's actually a really nice course. And I hit the wrong button again to tell you who was all in the tournament before, yes, rain and storms knocked it out. Wright State finishing +7. No negative finishers in this tournament. Wright State a +7. Valparaiso, IUPUI, Youngstown State, Ohio, Robert Morris. Xavier, Butler, Chicago State, San Francisco, Pennsylvania, Green Bay, Eastern Illinois, and Detroit Mercy. So that was the last thing Wright State did, winning their Wright State Invitational in a storm and rain-shortened invite. And now it's the Horizon League Championship. So definitely, Wright State Golf has been on the up and up. I mean, past few years, Connor Lash is your head coach. I believe that's changed from 2020. I'm trying to remember the other gentleman's name. But yeah, Wright State Golf, definitely on the up and up. And when I get a chance to talk about golf, Well, I have to admit, I'm not knowledgeable about golf. The only thing I'm really knowledgeable about is the scoring. Sand pits are bad. Rough patches bad. Smooth grass good. And it's one of the sports that I will not watch on TV just because, yeah. I will tell you there is a lot of local talent on this golf team. I mentioned Tyler Goki. He's a junior. He's from Xenia, but he went to Carroll. You have fifth-year Bryce Haney, who graduated from Wayne and Huber Heights. You got Davis Root, who is in his last year, Wright State, from Dublin, Ohio. Actually went to Dublin, Jerome, so Columbus area, but still. Brock Rumke, he's a Moeller Crusader from Cincinnati. He's in his sophomore year. Then you have, there was another one I missed. There's another Columbus kid, Cole Corder. He graduated from Olentangy Liberty High School in Powell. Then you got Milford. Nathan Arnold. Sorry, have to do that. Graduate student. Graduated from Milford. And then you have a few, not from the area. Oscar Bartram from Nottingham, England. You have Andrew Flynn from Louisville, Kentucky. He went to St. X. But not Cincinnati St. X, because that would be a heck of a drive. But Louisville St. X. Then you also have Michael Matheson. He's in his junior year at Wright State from Esbjerg, Denmark. I believe that's how it's said. And that's your team. Connor Lash is the head coach. No assistants with him, according to the roster. Named the head coach in August 2021. So, before the season began. Former Raiders student athlete. He was an assistant coach at Wright State during the 2016-17 golf season. Then again, March 2020 till his promotion to head coach. With his assistant role, he helped with recruiting and tournament play. And after having the 2020 season canceled by COVID, Raiders bounced back with 5 top 3 team finishes in 10 tournaments during spring 2021 on a way to a runner-up finish in the 2021 Horizon League Championship. I thought they won it last year. That's my fault. I apologize. Lash was a student athlete at Wright State from 2012 to 2016, a team captain as a junior and senior, and a scholar athlete from 2022 and 2015. 2012, 2015. Don't know why I said 22. In addition to his duties at Wright State, he is also an assistant course manager at the WGC golf course in Xenia. He helps run the day-to-day operations of the course, and also a professional caddy at one point on the LPGA Tour from 2018 to 2020. So, pedigree, definitely there. And right now, Wright State, pull up the live stats one more time before we head on to baseball. And yes, I know what your thoughts are. One part's going to be depressing, the other part, probably not. And you'd be right, because, yeah. But, and it's still holding strong. Wright State -7, Youngstown State +1, Oakland +2. And that's your top 3. Wright State has yet to go, I believe. Let's look at the player lead part. In case you're wondering who's leading, it's Ken Keller of Youngstown State. He's at -6. And his first round was a 66. That edges out Tyler Goki, 67 at -5. And Taylor Gardner of IUPUI is in third, -4. And he shot a 70 through 6. I think he's still going. He's at -2 right now. Wright State's Michael Matheson tied for fourth with Thomas Giroux of Oakland, both sitting at -2. Cole Corder tied with 6 with Oakland's Owen Tucci at -1. And then Bryce Haney sitting at +1, tied for 10th with Avery Greene of Northern Kentucky, Cole Chrisman of Youngstown State, and Oakland's Yaro Ilyenko. And also there are 3 more. Cleveland State's Jules Blakely, Robert Morris's Alex Seelig, and Purdue Fort Wayne's Brett Seward. So there you go. And who says I don't talk about golf on this podcast? I do, because, again, it's not something we really cover much. But let's head off the green to talk about a different kind of green. We're talking baseball now, as we'll start off with the Dayton Dragons, High A affiliate in the Midwest League. And oh boy, if you haven't seen the Dragons, go go see the Dragons, because this team, as long as the talent stays in town, is going to put some fear into pitchers. The offense, outstanding so far. The starting pitching has been good. The bullpen has been, it's been a thing. But all in all, this is a very solid Dayton Dragons team. 11 wins out of 4 losses. They have won all 3 series so far, 2 6-game series and 1 3-game series. The Dragons start off the year taking 2 of 3 against the Fort Wayne Tin Caps, the Padres High A affiliate. They won opening night, and they split the doubleheader on Sunday because of a snow out that Saturday. Yes, I said snow out. I don't want to talk about that any further. Then heading up the road to Lake County, the High A affiliate of the Cleveland Guardians, and taking 4 out of 6 there. I tell you, the captains have really had the Dragons numbered past few seasons. But, yeah, taking 4 out of 6, and James Proctor, he had himself a dandy of a start. I think he had one of the doubleheader games. I think there was like 2 doubleheaders, because remember, that Sunday was Easter. So that was pretty nice not to have an Easter Sunday game. And then coming back home, tied for first place with West Michigan, taking 5 of 6 from the Detroit Tigers High A affiliate, the Whitecaps. And let me tell you, that series, Dragons played really well. Pitching was strong in the first part of the series, and then the offense just woke up and took names. Like I said, as long as this talent stays in Dayton, there's a real shot at playoffs. Which I know, it's April, and we're not really thinking about playoffs towards August, September. But yeah, I really think this Dragons team is darn good. Really, really good. It's been a lot of fun to watch and work those games. So let's tell you a little bit about the Dayton Dragons as a team. This is a Dragons team in the Midwest League, currently 5th in OPS, but batting average sitting at 10th at 209. Oh boy. I pump up the offense, and it's the 3rd worst batting average. In case you're wondering, the best batting averages, it's 271 for Cedar Rapids. There's too many Rapids in the league. Cedar Rapids at 271, Fort Wayne 253. Now I can't do numbers. Grand Rapids, West Michigan 247, Quad Cities 242, Lake County 239, Lansing 238, Peoria 231, Wisconsin 221, South Bend 214, there's Dayton at 209, Great Lakes 195, Beloit 189. Yeah, about that. Let's look at the runs. Dayton with 69 total runs. That would not be first. That's Fort Wayne scoring 95 runs. Dayton's 69 runs are 5th, though. So it's the 5th most in the league. Behind Fort Wayne's 95, West Michigan's 88, Cedar Rapids 86, Quad City 74, and there's Dayton at 66, Lake County 65, Lansing, Wisconsin 63, Great Lakes 62, Peoria 59, South Bend 54, Beloit 48. 48 runs in, I believe, 15 games. Now let's look at the pitching. We're starting with ERA. Dayton currently second to last, with the 2nd highest ERA of 5.21. That is only smaller than Lansing's 6.66. That's a number for ERA and staff pitching, isn't it? Lake County currently has the best ERA in the league at 2.74. Cedar Rapids 3.33. Fort Wayne 3.83. And then South Bend 3.94. So the Cubs' offense isn't there, but the pitching has been okay. So there we go. No complete games anywhere, which, you come to expect. You're not really going to see a lot of complete games, because remember, this is development baseball, and the last thing you want to do while developing your game to get to the majors is blow out your darn arm because you threw too many pitches. So yeah, you're likely not going to see that unless, I don't know. And of course, when I look for saves, it decides to crash. So thank you. Dayton currently leads the league in saves with 7. Cedar Rapids 5. Wisconsin 5. 7 out of 8. So not a perfect percentage, but hey, out of 8 opportunities, there are only It looks to be only 2 other teams that have 8 save opportunities, and both of those teams are at the bottom. Great Lakes and Peoria, 2 saves out of 8 opportunities. That's 6 blown saves. We like to call that in the trade not good. Let's look at the walks. As Dayton, second highest walks given up at 81. This is pitching staff, but strikeouts 151, which would put Dayton in the middle. West Michigan has struck out 166 batters. Least is Lansing with 112. So now, how about we look at the staff of the Dragons? And we're going to look at all the players so far because we only had one leave, and that was Albert Ormora Jr., and he was on a rehab assignment. Albert Ormora, well, in his rehab assignment, he was up with the Dragons in Lake County for 4 games, hit .313, stole 1 base, did not get caught stealing, and had 2 RBIs and 5 of 16 for 4 strikeouts, no walks. So that's not terrible. Your current Dragons, your leader is second baseman Jose Torres. Let me tell you about Jose Torres and his .308 batting average. He's 4 for 4 in stolen bases. He has struck out 8 times and only drawn 2 walks. It's a little bit of a theme this year. In fact, I'm looking, the closest that ratio gets to 1 walk per strikeout, Justice Thompson. He's been in town for a grand total of 2 games, 3 days, and he took 1 walk, struck out 3 times. So yeah, those ratios a little bit too aggressive on the strikeouts, but there you go. 3 home runs for Jose Torres. No, that's not the team lead. With 7 RBI, also not the team lead. And 2 doubles, 1 triple. The 1 triple is tied with McGarry, De La Cruz, and Serta with that number. But Jose Torres is dealing in spades on offense. In fact, his on-base percentage, pretty good number, about 36%. And OPS is right around 1.998. That was a OPS. I always forget. On base plus slugging. And Torres is slugging about 64%. So, yeah, that's a pretty good number. Justice Thompson, I mentioned, just 3 games in with the Dragons, but 3 of 10, had a walk-off hit Saturday afternoon against West Michigan for, I believe that's his first RBI. He's got 2 RBIs and 1 stolen base. Dragons team that's pretty decent at stealing bases. We'll get to that more in a bit. Alex McGarry, .290 batting average. He leads the team with RBIs and home runs. 5 homers, 11 steaks on the grill. However, he has struck out 12 times. The most, actually, is 18. That is by Ellie De La Cruz and Alan Serta. Speaking of De La Cruz, he's hitting .289. He has 3 of 6 on the stolen base department, 8 RBI, 3 home runs, 3 doubles, 1 triple, 13 out of 45. So yeah, De La Cruz is doing some work and pretty solid shortstop. And really, we haven't seen Torres take over at short. It's been De La Cruz at the 6th spot, but hey, they're roommates and they're Dragons together. So it's a really nice tandem up the middle. I will say that. Garrett Wolforth, he is batting .250. He's been the backup catcher. He's only appeared in 5 games. 4 of 16 with 2 home runs and 5 RBI. Matthew Nelson, who's been the main catcher, he's played in 10 games, a .226 batting average. He just picked up his first home run yesterday in the 9-2 win against West Michigan. 9-2? Yeah, 9-2. West Michigan. And then we have Alan Serta batting .216. 3 RBI, 2 home runs, 10 of 37. Nick Quintana, .205. And then JV Martinez, 175. By the way, Quintana came over from the Detroit Tigers in the Tucker Barnhart trade. JV Martinez, the artist formerly known as Juan Martinez, he's batting .175, 7 of 40 with a home run and 2 RBI. Ashton Creel, he was off to a really good start in the first series, but then he's cooled down. He's at .167. Jonathan Willems, he's only played in 4 games, and I believe he's off the roster. I think they sent him up to Louisville on an emergency assignment. Sometimes when you need players, you'll call them for that. Willems, 167, 2 of 12. Reese Hines, batting 140, 6 of 43. I didn't think his batting average got down low to 140. By the way, his 24 strikeouts, that's the most on the team. Jack Rogers, he finally got his first hit of the year yesterday afternoon. And I tell you, that's definitely a load off his back. Good guy, according to the Dayton Dragons broadcast. He is 1 of 30 for 033. And Quinn Cotton, who's no longer with the team, he got moved up to Chattanooga. He was 0 for 11 in Dayton with 7 strikeouts. So a lot of the low batting numbers are dragging down the hot spots. Torres, Thompson, McGarry, De La Cruz up there. But like I said, that offense, when they're clicking together, it's dynamite. So Dayton will take to the road again. They have 6 at Fort Wayne. And then we'll come back home to take on Lake County to open up May. And, we got to look at pitching too, don't we? Yeah, that might help. Like I said, starters have been phenomenal. And the bullpen, a lot of it's inflated ERAs where you have a bad outing. There's been a couple that have had a couple bad outings, but altogether, it's not bad. Your lowest ERA is 0, and that's from 2 starts from Joel Boyle, who has no wins, no losses. This is the Notre Dame kid that could throw a fastball consistently around the 100s. Yes, you heard that correctly. Boyle has struck out 17. No, that's not the most. And has walked 5. We're talking starters first. Andrew Abbott, he pitched beautifully yesterday. It was supposed to be his start, but that guy named Luis Castillo came in and had a rehab start. Hope he does well in baseball. I mean, yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Luis Castillo, a rehab assignment. So Abbott came out. He was the glorified closer, if you will. I mean, if you can't really give a win to rehab pitcher because they're not really going to pitch that long. And the guy that followed him just... But going on, Andrew Abbott, solid stuff. 2 wins, no losses, a 1.20 ERA. He gave up an inside the park home run yesterday, and I think that was all he gave up. 2 starts, 3 appearances, 15 innings, which is the most. Just 2 earned runs against him, 11 hits, 1 home run against him. That was that inside the Parker. 6 walks, 25 punch-outs. That's the most by Dragon staff. And then we have starting James Proctor, 1 win, no loss, a 3 ERA in 9 innings, 3 earned runs, 6 hits, and with 5 walks, 6 strikeouts. So Proctor's done well. His batting average against is phenomenally low at 182 in 2 starts. He should be towards the beginning of the Fort Wayne series, and I believe Dayton will rock a 6-man rotation. Because, again, most of the series are 6 games. There are 2 more, I believe, that aren't. But, hey. Spencer Stockton, he was a starter for a while in Dayton, but this is his 3rd year back. He's coming out of the bullpen. 1 win and 3 appearances, a 3.18 ERA. Luis Castillo, he gave up 1 earned run in his 2 1/3, although the guy that followed him threw 4 balls to let him in. Castillo looked good in his rehab assignment. He'll probably get 1 more, maybe 2. And they were talking about on the Reds broadcast saying, we want to make sure that Castillo is ready to go and not just because the Reds need him, which is pretty smart. Connor Phillips, you might know him as one of the pieces that came in that trade that sent Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez to Seattle. And yes, you don't have to remind me. I see Winker doing well in Seattle. I still don't know why we got rid of Winker. There had to been another piece we could have got rid of to tie in with Suarez. But anyway, Connor Phillips, he was the opening day starter. He's got 1 win, 1 loss. He lost the only game against West Michigan. And at that point, West Michigan started to figure out his rhythm. I mean, the first game, he really fooled Fort Wayne. He had really nice arsenal of pitches and mixed them in quite well. It was mostly the full counts that did Phillips in that Friday night against West Michigan, but 1-1, a 5.14 ERA, 3 starts in. He's given up 8 runs, 8 hits, struck out 21, walked 12 in 14 innings. Batting average against a 178, though. So I thought Proctor had the lowest. No, it's Phillips. And I think there might be one more starter. Yes, No, there's 2 more. James Marinan, he's been with the Dragons past few years. He's made 3 starts. He's got 1 loss, and his ERA is 9.75. The Saturday afternoon game against West Michigan, he started. He also ran into the same problem that Phillips had, just full counts. And West Michigan was able to, battle off him, but he grinded through it. He didn't get the win, though, because one of the bullpen guys gave up 3 runs to tie the game up, and then Dayton had to walk it off with 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th to win it. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Some of your bullpen arms. Franger Aranguren. That's a fun name to say and announce. He has appeared 3 times. He's yet to give up any type of runs. He has given up 6 hits. He's walked 4, struck out 2, so that ratio, and 6 1/3. However, the big thing is 0 runs. Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, I have to correct myself again because Joe Boyle has yet to give off a hit. So his average in 2 starts is 0.00. If you can find someone that has a 0.00 average after a while, yeah, let me know because that is worth celebrating. Manuel Cachute, he got his only save in the opening day game against Fort Wayne. He has pitched 4 2/3, 1 hit allowed against him. His batting average against is 0.67, which that's good. 3 walks, 3 Ks, and 1 win for Cachute. Jake Gilbert, this is his 2nd or 3rd year back in Dayton. He's looked good. His adjustments, big thing. He's a big, tall guy coming out of Air Force, excuse me. Jacob Hurtubise came from Army last year. But Gilbert out of the, one of the military schools, 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 7 innings. He has walked 3, struck out 10, so he's done much better. His average against is 200. That's not too shabby. I mentioned Spencer Stockton. He's going to call him Spectre Sponson. That's a great name. Miles Gaiman, he's gotten better as the season's rolled along. 5 2/3 innings, 3 earned runs, 9 hits, struck out 8, walked 1. Batting average is a little high against him at 360, but he has done better. Jake Gazzo was the gentleman after Luis Castillo. He walked the first batter, but that's all he really did. He was able to get his control back. Gazzo, 5 appearances, a 4.91 ERA, 3 2/3, walking 3, striking out 4, 2 earned runs against 5 hits. His average against is 313, so that's a little high as well. But those are some of the bigger pieces out of the bullpen. Rests have high ERAs. Donovan Benoit, he has pitched better as the season's rolled along. 7.71 ERA. Most of the damage against him came, in fact, I think all the damage against him came in the opening night game against Fort Wayne, where he gave up 4 runs and just couldn't throw strikes. He walked 7, struck out 5. Batting average against a 125, so he is getting better. Nick Hansen, so far 3 appearances. He has given up 6 earned runs, 9 total on 6 hits, and 3 2/3. His ERA is 14.73. Thomas Farr is a starter, but right now he's been hurt, but it doesn't sound like he'll be out long. He lost his only start, a 16.20 ERA. I believe that was up in Lake County. And Jake Stevenson, 4 appearances. He's got the highest ERA at 24.55. In fact, he was the pitcher responsible for allowing the Whitecaps to tie it up 7-7 on Saturday afternoon. Also, the highest batting average against him, 467. So, he has appeared twice, and he's looked pretty good. The other 2 times, But that's your total look on stats for the Dragons. Like I mentioned, Fort Wayne on the road next for the Fire Breathers. And then back home to start off May against Lake County. So, yeah, that Fort Wayne series is going to be huge because Tin Caps are pretty good. In fact, I think they are one game back of first. So the Tin Caps have gotten their act together after losing the series at Dayton, and now they take on the Dragons at Parkview Field. Interesting fact about attendance, it's always Dayton and Fort Wayne, your 1-2 punches. Tin Caps organization's done a nice job bringing butts and seats in Fort Wayne, but Dayton's done a better job. So there you go. Not to say that, yeah, we're better, but no, Fort Wayne's done a remarkable job on that. I mean, the team, the minor league franchise has been in town since 1993. The Dragons started in 2000 after moving from Rockford, Illinois. And yeah, I mean, two really strong minor league teams. Two really strong minor league markets even. Fort Wayne's got everything. Dayton used to have everything, but there we go. So that's your look at the Dragons, and I know what you're thinking. We're talking Reds next. Where are you going to go? The basement. How are you going to go lower? With a jackhammer. Now we're at rock bottom. Where are you going to go? Lower than that. Whoo boy. Yes, I still follow my Reds. They're my team. Doesn't mean I like the ownership, but 11 straight losses and without a lead in 99 innings. This is almost like a tale of two towns again, where one team is doing so well and then the other team is not, which was a few episodes ago where I'm talking, hey, look at all these expectations the Bengals have. And then we look at the Reds like, oh, let's trade all of our players to align payroll and be competitive somehow. No. So yeah, I've aired my grievances on these deals. I'm not going to repeat it because I already have. But yeah, I feel bad for the Reds players. They're busting their hump out there. They're trying to make a living. They're trying to, play through all this, but there's just such a bad karma around the team. But then when you're the team president, you're pretty much telling your fans where you're going to go. Be careful what you wish for with new owners. And then doubling down before apologizing on it. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't help. That does not help in the slightest. But let's talk about the Reds. They did snap that long losing streak. They beat St. Louis yesterday 4-1, and Nick Lodolo got his first major league win with Cincinnati. I wasn't sure if, Lodolo was ready, like I was sure with Hunter Greene, but I tell you, he did a phenomenal job yesterday. His first game, yeah, growing pains. I can expect that. And it's almost the flip side of the table for Hunter Greene because he struggled against the Cardinals. He bowed as hard as he could, but St. Louis is pretty good still. So, I'm not angry about that. I'm not angry about, a lot of things except, the ownership saying that stuff. And I still can't believe my tweet got over 400 likes about saying, man, it hurts. The Castellanos wanted to be a Red. And, of course, the big argument was he opted out of his deal. You do realize that opting out of your deal does not necessarily equal wanting to leave town. If he wanted to leave town, he would have said so. So, I'm just saying on that. And then one troll got really nasty with me and decided to Twitterly assault me. So, that was fun. But he won the battle in the end because he blocked me. Nothing says tough guy on Twitter like blocking someone that you wanted to fight with and say, come down to this intersection, Vine and Court. I'll fight you. It's like, tough guy, huh? So yeah, that was fun. Good job, buddy. Tell that to your 100-some followers that you bested a professional. So good luck with that. Anyway. I said I wasn't going to talk about that, but I sure did, so that's just going to stay on that. Anyway, right now for the Reds, your leading batter is Aramis Garcia. He's had to pick up the slack since Tyler Stevenson was concussed in San Diego by Luke Voigt. I think I used to like Luke Voigt. .294 batting average. Tyler Stevenson, before his concussion, .267. So your catchers are doing a fair job at the plate. In fact, leading the offense. Alejo Lopez, .263 with Jonathan India's absence, which probably means Lopez will be sent down once India is back healthy. Naquin back, .250 batting average. JT Riddle, the third baseman, .250 batting average. Jonathan India was hitting .241, which I feel like he's under a microscope because he was the rookie of the year last season. I mean, he's almost got to triple his expectations just for people to say, rookie of the year. Kyle Farmer, .236. Moran, .222. Drury, .206. Pham, .167. A lot of people weren't happy with the fact that what he said was, I'm in it for me, which, yeah, that doesn't scream team chemistry there, but he's betting on himself. So I'm not wildly angry about that if the team's not wildly angry about that. Nick Senzel, $161. He did come back and look pretty solid against St. Louis on Sunday, I believe. Joey Votto, $151. Jake Fraley, $129. Mike Moustakas, $129. Aristides Aquino, $053. TJ Friedl on 7 at-bats, yet to get a hit. Ryan Hendricks, and these are pitchers batting. Mark Colesbury, former Dayton Dragon, 0-for-3. He is the backup catcher now with Stevenson shelved, but I think Stevenson's able to come back shortly. Or is that India that I'm thinking of? Who cares? But, yeah, averages are down. Hitting is not where it needs to be. But, again, bad aura around the team. So, let's look at the pitching. And we pick all players because we want all Reds players. Right now, your leading strikeout pitchers are Lodolo with 19, Malley with 9. Yeah, I know, I stuttered, sorry. Your leading strikeouters for the Reds, Lodolo with 19, Malley with 19, Greene with 16, and Dowry Moretta out of the bullpen with 10. And Buck Farmer, the veteran, with 9. Actually saw him with the West Michigan Whitecaps as well. And right now, a little high in the ERA, 4.05, but out of the 4 previous I mentioned, only Dowry Moretta's ERA is lower. So, yeah, looking at these ERAs, it doesn't look good. Alexis Diaz, however, 6 innings, yet to give up a run, just 4 hits and 6 1/3. That's solid, former Dayton Dragon. Justin Wilson, you might remember him coming over. Is this the former New York Yankee? I think it was. 2.45 ERA, 1 loss in 5 games and 3 2/3. Jeff Hoffman, 2.89 average against, 9.1. He's been pretty solid. 3 earned runs and 9 1/3 in 6 appearances. Dowry Moretta, 8 appearances, 3.24 ERA. Buck Farmer, 4.05. Art Warren, 4.15. His only save was yesterday against St. Louis, and actually there are 3 saves. Tony Santillan and Lucas Sims with saves. Luis Sessa with a 4.50 ERA in 6 innings, 5 appearances, and 1 start. He was the opener, and what was that game? That was San Diego, wasn't it? Yeah, no decision. Hunter Greene, 1 win, 2 losses. He has 2 losses? I knew the St. Louis game was a loss, but I didn't remember he lost the other one. Anyway, your starters, Vladimir Gutierrez, his ERA is a little high. It seems to be a theme. 3 losses, 3 starts, 5.54 ERA. Nick Lodolo, 5.52 ERA, 1 win, 2 losses, and 3 starts. Have I not really been following the Reds that close? I don't remember Lodolo and Greene's second loss. Well, be their first loss. And Lodolo's first win again was yesterday. Malley, 1 2 and 4 starts. I do remember his second loss. He pitched well against St. Louis. Problem is, offense couldn't do squat for him. And it's Reaver San Martin, not San Martin, like I think it says. 2 starts, 3 appearances, 2 losses, 7.11 ERA, and 12 2/3. Ryan Hendricks, designated for assignment. His ERA was 8.10, 5 appearances. That might be why. Also, I think he ran out of options too. Lucas Sims, his ERA is at 9. Daniel Duarte, he's now in the 60-day IL, 10.13. And Hunter Strickland, 11.81. Yeah, Strickland's ERA, I didn't realize it was that high. but I think most of it came against the Cardinals, didn't it? Yeah. I can shout stats at you all day, and it wouldn't matter. Right now, it's just this Red team is crying for help, and it's a shame because these players deserve the loving Reds fans that I know exist in Cincinnati. No doubt. But the ownership is making it tough. I mean, you see so many people with bags on their heads saying, sell the team, Bob. And apparently someone was in the diamond seats, which are the seats right behind home plate that cost about $2 trillion and 5 RVs. Apparently, Bob Castellini asked that those fans take off their bag and keep them off, or else they get ejected. Yeah. And I like to address the whole blind hatred for the ownership. No. There's no blind hatred for the ownership. What are you talking about? Do you not see the rest of the Reds fans calling out the ownership? No, it's just me that's doing that, right? Oh, good golly. So, what do I think of Hunter Greene and Nick Lodolo as rookies? They got to have growing pains. That's part of baseball. They got to have growing pains. The thing is, they're rookies. This is a different level than minor leagues. Duh. But with major leagues, there's so much pressure. And no matter how much training you go through minor leagues, how much mechanics you tweak, how many games you pitch, it doesn't matter. Once you're in the big show, yes, your job remains the same, but it becomes exponentially tougher. So I really like Hunter Greene. I hope he stays in Cincinnati for a long time and not dumped off on a stupid deal. I mean, I liked Hunter Greene when he was in Dayton. It's really electrifying. I mean, the crowds, Dragons draw great crowds game after game after game. But there was always something a little extra with that, with Hunter Greene's games. He was a phenom. And the dude definitely deserves his shot, the majors. I also like Hunter Greene because of the fact that one of his favorite fishing spots is near my hometown in Lewisburg. So yeah, he knows where Preble County is. It's not in Indiana. It's still in Ohio, although it might as well be in Indiana. But no, I always liked Hunter Greene, and he always treated the fans well. So I'm definitely happy to see Hunter Greene and Nick Lodolo get their fair shakes. However, with Luis Castillo coming back, does that mean that we see Lodolo go back to Louisville? I don't know on that. I honestly don't know. Can I also mention the fact that how crazy is it that a few years back, once the Bengals season hits, it's like, well, at least we have the Reds. Now it's flip-flopped? Man, 2 years ago in a couple days now, Joe Burrow was drafted. I knew he was going to change the Bengals for good, but I didn't realize how quickly and how, flashy he would do it. Man, I'm glad Burrow's our quarterback, and I hope he stays in Cincinnati forever. And that's after his playing career. I hope he helps out the Bengals, front office. Maybe after Dave Lapham retires, he can fill in. I'd actually like to hear that, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. But you know what I mean. As long as Joe Burrow's our quarterback and we keep treating this team well, we keep adding pieces. And yes, I know I'm talking about the Bengals when I'm supposed to be talking about baseball, but again, when's the last time that we had the Bengals and Reds do well? 1990, I guess? I guess it had to be, because 90 was the World Series win, and before this past year, the last playoff win against the Houston Oilers for the Bengals. So I guess that was the last time. But it's always been either the Reds are good or the Bengals are good. Not both. Again, I want to take you to a scene where Cincinnati has a great Bengals football team, a great Reds baseball team, also the Cyclones hockey team. Just imagine the sports scene in Cincinnati, especially if SC Cincinnati does turn the corner, which I think they are. And they held LAFC scoreless after one half and fell yesterday 2-1, which I know, another loss. A loss is a loss, of course. But the way they've been playing, it's not terrible. I mean, there's more losses in there. Actually, I wasn't going to talk about it, but let's look. I might as well. There's got to be a pick-me-up. Just, I love the Reds, but it's so depressing. You know what I mean? It's just, I know these players are trying, and I know they are. It's just the way it bounces, I guess. And I forgot, it's MLS Soccer. You know, Major League Soccer, soccer.com. The official site of Major League Soccer, soccer is on Major League Soccer, soccer.com. Sorry. Let's look at the Eastern standings. I was only going to talk about that. Cincinnati is in last, but 2-5-1, tied with New England. Whoa. Isn't this the same Revolution team that got to the title? Columbus is 2-3-3. What the heck's happening up there? Philadelphia is on top. That's not really a surprise. Atlanta 3-3-2, and they just sacked their manager. What? Huh. In the West, it's LAFC, and then Austin 5-1-2. Soccer gods don't love Ohio. That's all that has to be said. That's all that has to be said. And now I want to talk about something I saw on Twitter. No, not that troll. He's blocked me on Twitter because he's a big man. No, I want to talk about college baseball. And I know I'm running out of time in my hour for the radio broadcast on WWSU. But when you have a coach in the area that picks up his 100th win, that's outstanding. When you have two do it in a season, that's phenomenal. When you have two do it on the same day against cross-team foes, that just blew my face off. So the tweet that I retweeted is from Andre Johnson over at 22 and 45. Great guy. And everywhere with Dayton Sports, along with Jack Pohl and Hutch Connerman on Channel 2. Here it is. From Andre 24/7 Now. What a day on the diamond. This is on Saturday. Both Jason King at the Dayton Flyers and Alex Sogard at Wright State picked up their 100th win with their programs today. What are the chances? Not good with chances and probabilities and odds, but I have to say, really tiny. Wow. Now, Jason King came over from a Division II program before taking the Dayton Flyers, so he's got over 100 wins. Alex Sogard, on the other hand, he's been an assistant coach with Wright State, pretty sure under Greg Lovelady, pretty sure under Jeff Mercer before taking the job, and I hope I didn't miss a coach in between. I don't think I did. But, hey, 100 wins. And in fact, you know what's even funnier about that tweet and that statistic? If Dayton doesn't knock off Wright State for the first time since March 2009 in baseball, I don't think either get to, well, I think King doesn't get to 100 in the same day as Sogard does, because King would have another day to get to 100, and then Sogard would pick up 100, the day before. So, yeah. And I tell you, most of the time when Wright State plays Dayton, the Raiders have the Flyers on lockdown. Not this game. Dayton came out and just bullied Wright State. I mean, just bullied them. I mean, the pitching was solid. Wright State only got 3 runs in the game. It was a 9-3 Dayton decision. And it was definitely a bullpen day because we saw 9 pitchers for the Raiders. So, yeah, great win for Coach King. And, I mean, that was 19 straight games that the Raider gang beat the Flyboys. So not only did we see both D1 head coaches in Dayton pick up their 100th win with Wright State and Dayton on the same day, but a few days before that, Jason King beat the Raiders for the first time since Tony Vittorio's team did it in 2009. In fact, I like talking about that, where it's Michael Wojtek going for the Raiders and Bernie Mitchum for the Flyers. Flyers scored all 5 of the runs in the bottom of the first. Raiders, I think, scored all 3 in the top of the third. And that was kind of it. I was with WWSU at the time as sports director, calling the game. Yeah. I took a picture from that viewpoint, too. It's like, some things really don't change, do they? So congrats to both head coach Jason King and head coach Alex Sogard at Dayton and Wright State, respectively. And in case you do want to see these college teams play, yes, there's still time, but you're running out of it. In fact, the Dayton Flyers are back at Dayer Ballpark this upcoming Friday at 7 against Virginia Commonwealth, or VCU. I love the fact that the Dragons have always announced it as Virginia Commonwealth, which is correct. That's what the institution's called. But sports-wise, they hate it. VCU hates being called Virginia Commonwealth. It's like, well, that's what you are, so deal with it. It's like one year I said University of Illinois at Chicago. That's what your institution is. It's like, no, don't say it. Say UIC. It's like, no, that's what UIC stands for. Anyway, enough about numbers. So Dayton's back at home this weekend against Virginia Commonwealth, and that's a big series. Up until last weekend, or the previous weekend, Dayton hadn't won an A10 series. In fact, UMass coming in, I think they were, 6-5 in the A10? Dayton just made them look silly. I mean, that was a phenomenal flyboy sweep. And the Raiders are leading the Horizon League. They took the doubleheader against Northern Kentucky. We're supposed to play a doubleheader yesterday against UIC in Chicago for the Raiders' last trip as conference foes against the Flames. Which, that breaks my heart that's happening, but what are you going to do? So that'll do it for this episode of the Cincinnati and Dayton Sports Podcast. It's been great talking baseball and a little golf mixed in there too. I thought of a great idea, and I want to run it by you listeners. I thought about making this podcast a community-type podcast. My good friend Brian Reese, he wants to have a community-ran soccer team, Kettering City FC, where, it's kind of like the Green Bay Packers, except, not with... You get the idea. It's like that, in a sense. It's community-ran, it's community ideas, no big wigs offering anything type thing, and you get what I'm saying. So how that would work, you all give me money. No. How that would work, seriously, is if there's a team you want covered and I haven't been able to get around to it, you record yourself covering that team, send it to me, I put it on the podcast and give you credit. So pretty much if you think I could do a better job covering, let's say, Cyclones hockey, for instance, you can record yourself talking about the team and then email me or message me to get that stuff, and I'll put it on the podcast to give you full credit. I'd have it as credit descriptions and type of thing like that. I would need you to have a decent audio setup, not just, something that sounds like it's coming from a tin can tied with a nylon string. Head over that way. It would need to be something decent, or if I need to work on it, fine. I can do that. I know a little bit about audio editing. So if you're interested in this idea, give me a yay or not a nay at CindayPod or the Lee W. Mallon. I check both on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. You find me, you let me know, and I might be exposing this idea a little bit more. Have a community type podcast. I'd still be the main host. No one's getting rid of me for that because I would run it. I would upload the episodes and do everything like that. But if that's something you would be interested in helping me out with, cool. Let's talk terms. By terms, I mean, talk to me about the team you want more covered. And if you send me anything Ohio State, it will get automatically deleted. Again, this isn't Wing. This isn't a shrine to that team in Columbus. It is about local sports, not sports an hour away. That will do it for this episode of the Local Cinday Sports Podcast. Talk to you again probably in May. Thank you for listening to the Cincinnati and Dayton Sports Podcast with Lee W. Mallon. Be sure to bookmark CindayPod.com, spelled CINDAYPOD, the official website of the podcast. You can find your favorite ways of listening to the local Cinday Sports Podcast, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Amazon Music, the iHeartRadio app, and many more. You can also purchase merchandise from TeePublic and Redbubble to help support the podcast. Follow on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at SindayPod and the host at the Lee W. Mowen. The closing theme is Cosmopolitan from Pecan Pie on Uppbeat. This is Lee W. Mowen signing off another episode of the Cincinnati and Dayton Sports Podcast. Thank you for your continued listenership and join me on the next episode.